Up YouTube? It's Andrew with All Things Fantasy, and in this video, I kind of want to take you through just my process of building lineups. Um, so for this week, it's week 11, and it's about a couple hours before kickoff, and I'm going through my process of just building lineups and getting ready for the games. So I thought I'd make a video of me just showing me building my lineups and just kind of talk about the things that are going through my head and the players that I'm looking at, and kind of how my opinions have maybe changed from earlier in the week, just based on news of injuries and weather. So for this week, like I talked about my Week 11 picks video, I was really big on three games for the main slate. Obviously, this being Sunday, the Thursday night game already happened. That was one of the games I was on. I was interested in. I was really interested in the Carolina Saints game. Both their defenses have historically been pretty awful this season, and I was really interested to give some exposure to those guys for Thursday slates. But as we can see, it wasn't really a really high scoring game, and neither quarterback had a big game. And I honestly kind of like I had a weird feeling Thursday afternoon, and I really lessened my exposure to that game, and which is a good move. It definitely saved me some money. Um, but yeah, I just had a weird feeling kind of before, like I didn't think it was gonna go. Um, I didn't think it was go as it was listed on paper. If it was obviously on paper it looked like it was gonna be just a crazy high scoring game. But I just had a weird feeling about it, so I kind of stayed away from it, and it ended up working out. Um, yeah, but so for the Sunday main slate, there's three other games that I was targeting, which was um, the Green Bay Washington game, the Tennessee Indiana game, and um, the Pittsburgh Cleveland game. And with recent news about the weather in Cleveland um, being really really bad, I'm kind of staying off of the Big Ben Antonio Brown stack, and just and I'm even kind of limiting my exposure to Le'Veon Bell, just because I know what bad weather does to games and fantasy production, and you definitely do not want a ton of exposure to those guys, because I might roll Big Ben Antonio Brown in like a couple, or like in a few GPPs, like maybe there's like one, um, just on the rare chance that they hit, and then obviously that would pay pretty well. But um, Le'Veon Bell, I do think they might try to run the ball a little bit more, but I just don't know how effective the run's going to be in the weather too. So definitely limiting my exposure to Le'Veon Bell. Before, like I know earlier in the week, he was just a nuts cash play. Like everybody was going to have everybody was going to have 60%, 70% Le'Veon Bell in their lineups. Like everybody was going to be all over this guy. Like he was definitely going to be the highest one guy, and I definitely see a lot of people get kind of get scared away from him. I definitely am going to be. I think there's some great pivots this week, and I'm definitely gonna switch a lot of those lineups to Zeke, because I think Zeke is a great play this week, and yeah, I just kind of limit my exposure to that game altogether. So yeah, I lose it to two games, which it makes it really easy for lineups this week, I guess. So my two main cash kind of games I'm looking at are going to be the Packers Redskins game, like I said, and the Titans Colts game. So I've made a couple Mariota Walker stacks already, and Mariota Matthews stack, and I would throw in Murray in there just to make sure I kind of get all of Tennessee's touchdown equity. But these lineups they're eerily similar to last week's lineups. If you saw my lineups last week, I had the same thing: the Mariota Murray Matthews stack, and so it just kind of feels weird repeating like the same kind of stacks and the same kind of lineup 2 weeks in a row. I mean, I've done it plenty of times before. I know last year I was just Big Ben, Antonio Brown every week, and it was hidden. But I'm definitely gonna still have a lot of Mariota stacks and cash. But I think I want to pair it with somebody else. And looking at the Green Bay Washington game, I definitely am gonna side with Kirk Cousins over Aaron Rodgers, just because I feel like Green Bay's defense has been giving up so many points to quarterbacks this year, and I feel like Kirk Cousins is a good spot at home, and you can really just take advantage of this Green Bay's D. So we're gonna start it off and get Kirk Cousins in here as our quarterback. And this is the first thing I always do. First thing when I make a lineup is I always start with my stack. And so this week it's interesting because Deshaun Jackson's out, so that immediately boosts Jamison Crowder's production, and he's been playing really solid all season. If you want to take a look at his game log, he's been producing great numbers, all season at a great price. Obviously, he had one game under 10 points. That was a week 4 against Cleveland, but other than that, and he only had 3 targets. Other than that, and he had 3 targets a week after that, but he still produced. Yeah, and if you just look at it, 6 targets, 13 targets, 9 targets. The last couple of games he's been really seeing the ball a lot more. Yeah, so he had 100-yard games back to back, and then he slowed down, but that was also against Minnesota, so you gotta take that into account. Obviously, it was not going to be as productive against Minnesota. But yeah, pretty solid work out of Crowder. His price is finally getting up there. He was in the 4,000s for the longest time, and then just recently he just went to 5,000 last week, and now he's 54. But yeah, still a great play, still pretty cheap, and I like him. Definitely at that price. And obviously, you can't take Kirk Cousins without taking Jordan Reed. And this is something I love about this little triple stack is that they're all under 6K. That's so hard to find. Your quarterback and 2 receivers to pair him with that are both under 6K, or that are all under 6K. Like, that's so rare. Just kind of take a look at his game log. Again, he struggled against Minnesota too. That was kind of maybe the common theme of the Redskins. But yeah, look again, Cincinnati went off. He was 1 yard shy of the 100-yard bonus. Had a touchdown. He had 2 touchdowns against Cleveland. He's had some big games. Obviously, so he missed a couple. He missed 6 and 7, because he had a concussion. But to me, Jordan Reed, he proved it. He was back against Cincinnati, and at this price, he went down in price because of his bad week. And at this price, I'm all in on a Jordan Reed stack with Kirk Cousins. And if you want to talk about my best cash plays for tight ends or tight ends I really like Delaney Walker in his spot. I think Jimmy Graham's a really good tournament play. I know a lot of people are on Zach Miller. I'm interested, but not like huge on him. And same with Martellus Bennett. Interested. Where is he? Did I pass him right here? Interested because Gronk is out, but not huge. So obviously both those guys are pretty interesting plays, but not huge again. We'll see. I might have a little bit of exposure, but not too much. Yeah, so now I got my stack. At this point, I usually go straight to running back and then just kind of work my way down. So this week, like I was talking about, I wanted to limit my exposure to Bell, so I'm gonna take Bell out of this lineup. And usually what I like to do is run it back with a receiver from another team or a player from another team to make a game stack. This week, I'm not really too big on Green Bay receivers. I guess really the only people that interested me would be Jordy, just based on his production the last couple weeks. He's been killing it. But again, I'm not too big. I wasn't really too big on a lot of receivers in the 7,000 range. None of them really popped off. Kind of really jumped off the page for me. T.Y. Hilton seems to be really popular this week. I'm off him though. I feel like Moncrief is at a much better price, and Moncrief has kind of been consistently getting a touchdown, and that's enough for me. Um, I mean, obviously, if T.Y. has a big game, then obviously, you know, that would have been the better play. But if they both have similar games, both do like pretty decent, Moncrief is the better play just off of value. So that's why I'm with Moncrief. So going to running backs, like I was talking about before, pivoting off of Bell, going to Zeke, I think that's the move for me. The Baltimore's D really doesn't scare me, especially with Zeke at home. You know, I'm not too concerned. In Dallas's offensive line has shown they can make holes against anybody for Zeke. So not concerned. Obviously, if I could get Murray and Zeke, that would be like the ultimate running back pair. But I'm not sure if I'll have enough for that. We'll kind of play around with it a little bit. But for right now, actually, we'll just plug them in right now. I mean, right now, if that doesn't happen, I've been going to ProSize, who is at a really, really cheap price. Now they announced that ProSize will be the starter, and I mean personally, we've seen this happen before. Where, some guy is announced that he's gonna come back and see snaps, and I mean I think if Rawls comes back, they'll kind of just touch him in. I mean, it reminds me a lot of the Jamal Charles situation, where Jamal Charles coming back from injury, and then they said where was going to be the starter, but Jamal Charles would see snaps, and so we don't know how many snaps Rawls is going to see, but I doubt he sees many, and I doubt he does much with those snaps. So I like ProSize. I think ProSize is the pass catching back, and I think that could be very, very well utilized against Phillies D. So definitely ProSize is definitely my cheap running back play of the week, and I'm gonna be all over him. So yeah, so if I can't fit Murray in, I'm definitely gonna go ProSize. Going back to receivers, so Crowder, and then a play that I really liked this week was because I thought I was talking about Moncrief earlier. Now, see, if I want to go with Murray, then I'm gonna have to go really, really cheap for the rest of my lineup. So we're gonna look at some of these cheaper wide receivers. Rashard Matthews is really, really interesting. I feel like he's kind of that solid guy like Moncrief, who's good for a touchdown these days, and it's been producing. So I think we're gonna pick up Rashard Matthews, and then come down here to Tyreek Hill. I want to talk about last week with Macklin out. Tyreek Hill stalled 13 targets and put up 89 yards. So I mean that's obviously that's not a ton of yards for the amount of obviously he had 10 receptions. So I mean obviously he did have 2 fumbles, which is concerning, but just the amount of volume that he's going to get with Macklin out, I feel like you just got to roll Tyreek Hill out. Especially against a Tampa Bay defense who's nothing spectacular. I know they looked locked down last week. They looked like the Denver's defense last week against the Bears, but that wasn't so much that Tampa Bay's defense as it was the Bears' awful offense. So I'm definitely gonna feel confident rolling Tyreek Hill out. So now that we go down, so we definitely could fit this in, because all right. So my defense, we'll look at my defense real fast. I've been all over the Dolphins D this week, just because I feel like they're in a great spot. One, Dolphins defense has been getting better and better, every week. I feel like they've been putting up some good numbers, and I feel like They've been really getting to the quarterbacks, and if they can do that against Jared Goff, I feel like they're going to be very, very successful. You can kind of just see, kind of struggle a little bit on the season, but then they've been kind of picking it up, and I feel comfortable taking the Dolphins D. Other defenses I do like, the Chiefs D. I feel like they have a good matchup. Um, the Lions D. People have been all over. People have not been all over, but people have been really talking up Blake Bortles this week, saying he's going to explode this week. I'm not too confident in that, but I'm not willing to take the risk in taking the Lions D. But I think if you do take the Lions D, that you could, I think they're good for at least like a pick. But I mean, one interception is not going to kid. It's not going to be enough, especially if the Jags end up putting up a decent amount of points. So at least my flex is 4,200, and I think I already kind of know where I want to go with this because I know who's at 4,200. Yeah, so CJ Prosise obviously at 4,200 just makes absolute sense. I could stack James Starks. I could stack James Starks with this, and kind of do a game stack. But with the one thing that I'm like really, really concerned about, this is from last week. This was last week's player news that Starks is active, and then they'll split carries to Montgomery. We know that was like 50-20, so obviously Starks is a lead back right now. But now they just picked up Michael. I don't know if you can see down here. They picked up Michael, but he's not going to play. Or we won't even get fantasy points, but who knows? I don't think Michael's going to play. Obviously, he doesn't know the playbook. Kind of the same thing with Nile Davis. That happened, but I feel like Starks is gonna get some production. I just don't know how productive he will be. So right now the big question for me is, do I roll CJ Prosise? Or I guess I could take Prosise, take out Murray, and then take Nelson and roll my lineup like that. Yeah, so taking Prosise, and you get your 3 running back lineup, and that's what I like I like that for cash, especially if I know all the running backs are gonna see a lot of work. So I mean maybe a lineup like this, and maybe I might roll Starks. I'll probably try to put both just for that game stack. Just if I know Starks is gonna see a lot of work, because you know that Zeke and Murray are gonna see a lot of work. So if you have 3 running backs who are gonna see a majority of the workload, and you throw in wide receivers with really good value, you're going to be in for a good game. So this is my this is one of my lineups this week that I'm rolling with, and that was kind of my thought process behind it. I was going to try to do 2 in 1 video, but seeing this video is almost 20 minutes long already, I'm not trying to make this a 40-minute video. So I think I'm going to end it right there. Thank you all so much for watching. I might be still look out for another video. I might be posting another lineup review similar to what I did last week, and I'll probably definitely I'll definitely have a video of my week 12 picks coming out, so look out for that. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.